Army and Navy hits a different chord each year when it comes around. Tradition, pageantry. It's a game like no other. One in which the nation's finest will battle and fight for the privilege to sing second. And while today is the final home game of the season for one team, it is more importantly a celebration, Senior Day, as we'll see a squad from the AAC, the Navy Midshipmen, taking on the 18th ranked team in the land, the Army Black Knights. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. Navy ready for kickoff as we get this game started. On the run from inside his own 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. So the Army Black Knights offense will get the first possession of the game. All of these players on the field might have a higher calling, but guys, in this one, tough, hard-nosed running games against stout defenses.
And almost every year we go to this game, and there is absolutely nothing like it. The pageantry before the game, on the field, honoring everybody there, and realizing they're not just fighting for a game, they're fighting for everyone in the stands. And so it is one of the coolest scenes every single year.
And there's a lot of pride in this game, too, between Army and Navy and the bragging rights. It's been going on now for decades and for over a century. This game at the end of the college football year, it just means more to these two teams.
They'll run the screen. Defense was not fooled by that screen to the back, and they'll stop him short of the marker. It'll be 4th down. And the Black Knights decide to punt it away. They'll have to punt for the first time this afternoon. He'll wave for the fair catch and haul it in at the 25. The Midshipman offense makes its way onto the field for their first possession of the game. Here are our impact players for this game, and it goes beyond executing an assignment to make an impact in the game.
Yeah, obviously we were talking to both coaching staffs this week, and we asked them who needs to step up and play well. They immediately pointed to these guys right here. They are the key for their respective teams.
Yeah, and they don't always show up in the box score, but these are the guys that are the leaders. These are the guys getting everybody organized and have to play well for their team to succeed.
Not a lot of daylight. He gets 1 to the 32. Faced with a 3rd and short from their own 32 to keep this drive alive. They'll try to get it through the air. Working that left side now. And he's going to be just short of the first down. It's going to bring up a decision for this coach. He gets the first one off, and he was busier than he hoped in that loss last week, being called on 5 times. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is.
Hold it, open.
Holding penalties, the ultimate drive killer. We'll see if it costs this offense here. He's looking to throw. Quarterback adapted. And he has a solid gain on the play before sliding. Offense gets set for 2nd down. Now the play fake. Moving, keeping the eyes downfield. Trying to make magic on the scramble. On the run, and he'll slide to avoid the hit. A nifty pickup there. Somebody needs to make a play here. It's 3rd and long from the 26. From the gun, wants to pass. Looking to buy time. Keeps it and gets the first down. Good run on the play, and he slides to avoid the hit. The Black Knights in the hurry-up.
Nice job. Nice way to end that play for the QB. He does a really good job scrambling, getting the first down, and getting down. Because defensively, I'm trying to get a lick. Anytime I can hit the quarterback, that is a win.
He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Here's the handoff. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. Third down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. And it's incomplete despite some serious arm strength shown there. And the Black Knights will bring the punt team onto the field. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. Fair catch called for and made. And the midshipman offense making its way back onto the field. Last time, David, it was 1-2-3 kick.
The last drive, that 3 and out, sometimes that puts your defense in a bad spot, and you got to get a drive together here so you don't wear the defense out.
I just think, David, too predictable, that last drive. They got to do something here to get this defense on their heels.
Back to pass, it's Fox. Gets it out fast. That one could really put this drive into high gear as they have a first down at the 37. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. They've got it at the 37. It's 1st and 10. They'll go to the ground. Oh, what a move! And they drag him down, but not before he picks up the first down. They get to the line quickly.
That's an awesome-looking carry, and you know when you're playing Navy, you better get ready to try to stop the run. Whether it's option, whether it's conventional, you better practice being in your gap, everybody being sound, and getting your eyes on the football. There are 3 certainties in life, guys. You're going to die, you're going to pay your taxes, and Navy is going to tote the rock.
Here comes Navy back to the line after picking up the first down. He's looking to throw it. Complete with conviction on the crosser. Really nice job there by both guys to throw and the catch to work that defense and get the first down. Trying to cap this drive with the pass. And the rush will get to him at the 25.
Well, the offense trying to stay aggressive, right? You just came up with a huge play, and right away you go back to another pass. But you got to do a better job protecting your quarterback. Can't give up a sack there.
That offense having to deal with the last thing you want on first down, giving up a sack as they come up to the line on second down. He's looking to throw. A little too much on that one, just out of his reach. 7th play of the drive coming up, but a long way to go on third down. He's looking downfield to throw. Nowhere to go, and the ball is loose. They recover their own fumble. How in the world did the offense avoid that disaster?
Woo. Deep breath, right? Man, you fumble that thing, you cough it up, you're like, oh, I really appreciate you, brother. I can't tell you how much I thank you because the coaches would have been all over me, but big-time break for the offense.
They've decided to try to go for the field goal here. He'll swing that big leg for 3 from 44 yards out. Between the uprights, it's good. And that'll put the first points of the game on the board. It's 3-0.
You want to talk about leg talent? That kid just made that kick 40-plus yards into the wind. That's incredible.
So the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away after putting up a field goal. Let's see what the defense can do. Just into the end zone, and he'll bring it out. I know he thinks he can house every return, but sometimes you just have to take a knee as he stopped at the 14. Use the play fake, now to throw. Catch in the middle, it's Fung. And they'll spot it at the 38, and that'll be plenty for the first down. Leaves it with the running back. We'll give him a couple on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Kept it on the ground on first down. Now back to the line. He's looking for an open man on 2nd down. Gets it out quickly. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there. Still a bit short of the first down. This defense will try to force a 4th down on 3rd and short from the 45. A little screen to the running back. They finally get him stopped, but what a good job by that front wall to set up the screen and create some lanes for their running back. They'll leave it with him. That one did not go well. Tackled in the backfield for a loss of 6. They'll line up for a second down play. He's looking to throw. And there was nowhere to go for this quarterback, and down he goes.
Strong safety blitzes can sometimes be hard to see coming from a quarterback standpoint because we're used to seeing the strong safeties insert themselves into the box, but you don't oftentimes see them blitz like that. That can be tricky to watch.
As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. At the end of the quarter, Navy has the lead. We've played one. Before we move on, let's have a look at the stats. They are lined up and ready to go and get things started here in the second. This is a 3rd and long. Looking to throw, and he needs a bunch. He's going to let one fly down the middle.
Really nice play by the defender, being in a good position for that deep ball down the field, not letting the receiver put his big body on him, go up over top. The only thing that could have been better is that thing tipped to another defender, and it was an interception, but great coverage by the defender.
Pre-snap motion quarterback trying to get a read. It's complete. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Here comes the offense on 1st and 10 from the 47. Looking to move it through the air. Setting up the screen. Brought down at the 32-yard line. Picks up 15 yards on the play and an important first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Trying to find his man on 1st down. He's got his man. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. And now on 2nd down for this offense. The give to the back. Knocked down after a gain of 1 to the 27. Here comes 3rd and short from the 27. This defense trying to make them settle for a field goal. Back to throw, it's Fox. Time running out, and he goes down at the 34.
Man, how about this defense, man? That's the 3rd sack of the day. They've been putting pressure, getting him on the ground. Not something they've been good at throughout this season. This defense playing better because they're getting more pressure on the quarterback.
Navy will have to punt it away.
On to take it away.
They call it a coffin corner kick for a reason, and you really can't do it any better than that. He puts that thing out of bounds right around the goal line. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. You just can't go backwards there. He did, and they swarmed him for a safety.
Oh, and how about this defense? Understanding where they are in the field. They got a chance to put points on the board, and they do.
After getting caught for a safety, they're lined up and ready to kick it off. Looking for a block. It's Yates. And Navy will go back on the attack. They missed an opportunity to extend this lead the last time they had it, Jesse.
Yeah, they got to be able to regain that momentum, right? Go back to what was working earlier on in this one. And David, to me, that starts with being the more physical team.
No, I definitely agree. Being the more physical team, but understanding the situation of the game. You're still winning. You got the football back. Now put a nice drive together.
The expressway is wide open. And they'll finally bring him down after he rips off a huge play. From the gun, the ground game. After the productive 1st down play, it's 2nd and 6. Motion trying to get the defense to show its hand. Runs through a tackle. Trying to run it in the red zone. He's got 4, and he's down at the 12. Boy, they'd love to move the sticks here and take a shot at it on 1st and goal. They'll try to drive ahead on 3rd and short. He's brought down, but he's got him inside the 10. First and goal from the 8. Navy is clicking on all cylinders right now. To the air, it's Fox. It's incomplete. He was shooting for the end zone right there. Defense rolls up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. The run up the middle, trying to find its way to the goal line. Dragged down at the 6 after a pickup of 2. The 8th play of the drive coming. You'd hate to settle for a field goal. It's 3rd and goal. From the gun, wants to pass. And he was looking to the end zone, and they couldn't make the connection. They'll try to cap off this drive with a field goal. And he'll try to knock through a short one, his 2nd of the day. This one from 23. Field goal is good. So after the made field goal, they'll kick it away and rely on their defense. Let's see what he can get done from inside his own 15. Maybe if he could have eluded just 1 or 2 more guys, it would have been a big return, but they'll mark it at the 30. They'll run it out of the shotgun. He locked up and held on to bring him down. They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Off the play fake. Feeling some heat. And the blitz gets to him just like that.
This defense, they are tenacious, and they've got guys up front that are athletic and that are so strong and then can collapse the pocket. You saw it right there in that play action.
I'm not positive, but that first down marker might be in the next county. On 3rd and long, he'll need to loosen up that arm. Safe completion on the screen.
Well, that time on 3rd and long, they just took what the defense gave them. Nothing down the field. They were hoping maybe he could make somebody miss after the catch. Wasn't able to do it, so now it sets up 4th.
4th down, and the punt team sends it the other way. Looking everywhere for room to run, but really good coverage, and he'll step out of bounds. And here comes the Navy offense. Had to settle for the chip shot field goal last time, Jesse. They'd love for this one to pay off bigger.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, too. Did a nice job out in the field, stalled a little bit once they got down to the goal line, so they just need to be a little bit more crisp here, Dave.
Yeah, and listen, I think the first part was the most important part. You got to put the drive together first to get down there. Now, when we get down there, focus on execution and getting 6 points.
Really nice stop there from this senior leader. Now on 2nd down. Back to throw, it's Fox. Got his man quickly. And he's knocked down, but there's also laundry on the field. We'll see what the officials have called. That penalty moves the ball back 10 yards. We'll replay the down. Here comes the offense on 2nd down. They're going to run it. And the defense snows him under after a very short game. It's 3rd down now, and they ought to be able to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning. From the gun, running back on the move. And he's not going to get there. The defense stands tall and makes the stop. We've got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. 4th down, and the punt team sends it the other way. Got it near midfield. And the punt team gets down there and gets the return man on the ground. Offense set on 1st down. Motion by the back forces the defense to adjust. Throws to the back. Caught close to the marker. It's Evanson. They'll finally get him on the ground, but not before he makes it to the 30 and gets a 1st down. He's going to pass. Trying to get to it. And the defense gets home and makes a play at the 37-yard line.
What a great job by this defense setting the tone early. In the first half, they've been hitting the quarterback early and often. Make him feel uncomfortable. Make him feel that pressure. Keep getting him on the ground. That's why they've built a lead.
Really need to pick up some yardage this time on 2nd and long. He's looking to throw. Unloads to the wideout. Oh, did he find a hole in the defense? Run out of bounds after the long game, but they've got it now 1st and goal.
Good pass protection isn't just offensive line, right? Running backs also have to be able to pick up the blitz. That running back did an outstanding job. That allowed his quarterback to just buy a little bit more time before making that throw.
Got it set up on the outside. That completion will take it inside the 4, and the offense is threatening. Defense trying to come up with a stop on 2nd and goal. Trying play action. Unleashes to the end zone. And it's caught. Touchdown, Black Knights.
Man, I tell you what, that passing touchdown, man, that should spark this whole team. Like, the comeback is more than on now. Like, they got the touchdown. They cut into the lead. You want to get a stop and go into the half, get all the juices, all the excitement, and be like, listen, the passing game's rolling. We got this. The comeback's in full effect.
On to attempt the try. Bangs it through for an extra point. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And they cap the drive with a 4-yard touchdown pass. And they desperately wanted to attempt a return, but decided not to. Instead, they'll take the touchback. They're going to throw it to start the drive. Quickly complete. And he gets it up to the 36. It'll be a 1st down. To the air, it's Fox. Back open in the middle. They make the stop, and that is the end of the 1st half. 1st half in the books. Time now to join Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, there are rivalries, and then there is undeniably the most meaningful rivalry in sports. And the battle for the chance to sing 2nd in today's Army-Navy game has been a sight to behold. And I get it. A lot of coaches will say the difference between winning and losing comes down to stopping big plays and getting big plays. But if you ask me, it's more about how good you are on 3rd down and how efficient you are in keeping drives alive. Those two stats can help you break the will of even the best defenses and help you come out on top. With that, let's throw it back to the guys to see how the battle between Army and Navy plays out.
He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. And the midshipman offense making its way back onto the field, using the quick game. And they pick up just a few on that completion. The sledding has been tough. Scores have been at a premium, Jesse, and every possession seems like it could switch the momentum of the game.
Yeah, Reese, for this offense, just feels like they just haven't been as physical. For this offensive coordinator, David, he's having to go deep into the playbook just to try to generate a 1st down.
And the good thing is there's not a ton of game pressure because the other side's not scoring either. But if you can find that one thing, get that one positive play, and then maybe you get those juices going and something can start to build.
He lets one fly deep. And it's incomplete, going for the massive explosive play instead. They're looking at a 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires left. It's caught. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a 1st down. Navy is clicking on all cylinders right now. The run from the shotgun. And he doesn't find much running room, a short gain on the play. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line 2nd and 7. They try to pop a run on the draw. And how about that play by that giant, that mountain of a man on the defensive front? On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up. Navy will have to punt it away. He's getting a lot of work. Fourth time he's punted tonight. The punt goes out of bounds, and a nice job to get them backed up. I think they'll spot it right around the 15. Army has it back in the offense, ready to go. And in a low-scoring game like this one, David, every possession is magnified.
Man, I think more than anything, it just gets frustrating. And you got to put that behind you. You got to see what this defense has been doing to be so successful. Caller, now use it against them.
Yeah, David, I think for a play caller, this is tough, right? It's like you have to have the...
And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10. Wow, this offense is just stuck in the mud. They've already punted 4 times, and it's third down now. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. And this is going to be incomplete on third down. The Black Knights will punt this one away. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. Slips through the line, working his way on the return up to the 40-yard line before he stops. They'll start this drive 60 yards in front of them from their own 40. From the shotgun, the inside give. A confident, tough, efficient run gets it up to the 44. Solid pickup of 4 on first down. It's 2nd and 6. Wants to throw. It's Fox. Throws to the wideout. And he drops it just a little too slippery in the hands. A chance to sort of put the defense on its heels if you convert a 3rd and long. This one from the 44.
Aggressive play call by the defense.
Navy will have to punt it away. They may have to pay him overtime. He's punting for the 5th time today. He'll get away another punt. He's been really active today, and no doubt he's going to earn his varsity letter. The Cadets have it back as Army goes back on offense. It has been a complete uphill struggle for both of these offenses, Jesse.
It sure has. At this point, David, someone's just going to have to step up and make a play. Someone's got to break a tackle, make an incredible catch, and just give some life to this offense.
And whatever you can, whatever it takes. Don't worry about looking pretty. That's out the window. We've already looked really, really ugly. We got to find something that works to put some points on the board.
Encroachment. Defense.
Here's the snap, ready to cut one loose. Receiver looks it in, it's complete. And that is a nifty bit of navigation to get through that traffic and get the first down. They'll give it to the back. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Lost 1 on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. Using his legs, it's Evanson. Fights off a defender.
See, they need more runs like that. It's been so few and far between. Defensively, they've been in position. They've been winning their one-on-one battles, getting off of blocks and rallying to the ball carrier. This defense has done a nice job slowing down the run game thus far.
And the plan of the day. And that ball will sail into the end zone for a touchback. And Navy will go back on the attack. The last time we saw this offense, we had to look quick. It was a 3-and-out, Jesse.
They just had no rhythm in that last drive. So someone's going to have to step up and make a play, David, and get this thing going.
Yeah, let's find some juice. Find your guy. Find those plays that you know you can run inside out, forward, backwards. Get some first downs. Get some positive momentum.
And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical in pass deep. This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long. And he just overshot his man and threw it out of bounds, incomplete. Navy will have to punt it away. They're up to a half-dozen kicks today. Hand goes into the air for the fair catch, and the catch is made around the 40. The offense set for a first down play. He'll start this drive firing. The short hands, it's Fung. And a good job of coverage by that defense, just a short pickup. After the short completion, let's see if they go back to the air. Pocket starts to collapse. Can't make the connection. The pressure there caused the missed timing. Some third down conversions tougher than others. This one, a long one on 3rd down from the 43. Going to try to pop one on the screen. And he's a real nowhere man tackled in this no-game land. The Black Knights will line up to punt it away. And the punt hits ground at the 2 and goes into the end zone. He just missed, hitting them right in the shadow of the goalpost. It'll come out to the 20. Pulls it in. A quick tackle made, but he's got plenty for the first down. And now a fresh set of downs for this offense. From the gun, running back gets the give. And they try the middle of this defense, and that is not happening. As they get set to snap it, just about to reach the end of the quarter. To throw, it's Fox. On target. They make the stop, but there is a flag on the field. We'll see what that's all about. Just an obvious holding call there, and one that just kills an offense's momentum. At the end of the quarter, Navy has the lead. And as we switch ends of the field, let's take a quick look at the national rankings. One more period to go to see who can make the winning plays and come home with the victory. Let's see what they've got on second down. He'll pull it on the read. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a first down. Now facing a 3rd and long. He'll set up to throw. Quick strike complete. He couldn't find anywhere to go, and now it's 4th down. Navy will have to punt it away. Tries to find a little more running room on that return, but he'll be stopped at the 36. Army has it back in the offense, ready to go. They've hit a bit of a lull here, and they need to get things cranked up with this possession, Jesse.
Just having a...
And that pressure just engulfed him. A sack for this defense. Whoa, that linebacker sacked that quarterback, and he was on him quicker than a hiccup.
Yeah, and you see quarterbacks back there pointing and telling the offensive line who to block, and, well, it didn't work, okay? He was not prepared for that. He comes scot-free, and the quarterback pays the consequences for that one.
They gave up the sack on first down. Now it's 2nd and 11. He's looking to throw. He fires one deep down the right side.
And that was good defense again, and unfortunately we've been saying that all game long. Really, really good defense. Or, listen, you can spin on the other side. This offense has really been bad.
All kinds of room to throw that one in there. That is exactly what you're looking for when you talk explosive plays. The defense finally able to make the stop. Off the play fake on first down. Fires to the wideout. Incomplete. They're now on 2nd down. They'll run play action. Caught behind the line. It's Balkinson. They need to get a little closer for a field goal try, and they've got to do it in a hurry. Trying to move the sticks on 3rd down through the air. Using the back as a receiver on the screen. They make the stop, but not before the screen has hit them for a first down, and much more really good execution by this offense. The aerial assault continues. Floating away. Quarterback gets the first down and more. And a nice pickup on the run and gets down to avoid contact. The back goes in motion. Quick pass on the fly motion. And he'll step out of bounds after a very productive play. And guys, a perfect opportunity here to take the lead late. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Can the defense stop him again on 2nd and goal? Tries again to get it in. Touchdown, Army! They move on top here in the 4th.
And And this offense really showing their physicality, running the football when it matters, in the fourth quarter, in crunch time, to take the lead in this football game.
Now the two-point conversion attempt is coming. Wide receiver now comes in motion. The snap sets up the throw. He looks that one in nicely. Couldn't make his way in. The two-point conversion fails, and we still have a 5-point game here in the fourth. From inside the 10, here he comes. Just never had a chance to shake loose, and he'll be brought down at the 24. And here comes the Navy offense. Their drive chart is starting to look a little monotonous. Punt, 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 David.
And their defense is starting to get a little frustrated, too. They just keep putting me back on the field, possession after possession. Jesse, this offense needs to get their heads out of their you-know-whats.
The punter's on the sideline with the oxygen mask right now. He's been playing so much. He's not used to this. This offense, they just got to stay on the field. They got to put a drive together and get some balance going, running and throwing the ball.
Coming out on first down with the play fake. Quickly to the tight end. They'll get him at the 45, but he got 10 on that one. Here comes Navy back to the line after picking up the first down. To the air, it's Fox. Fires to the tight end. That's about as close as you can get to that marker, and it will be second and just a few breaths away from the first down. Making sure they have good balance, keeping it on the ground. Crosses the 30, he's got a lane. And he was loose and in the open field and on his way. A tremendous pickup on that one. Grab behind the line. It's Yates. And the defense coming with bad intentions. They knock him down for a loss. Last play didn't go well. It leaves him with 2nd and 11. He's got it. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down mark. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and the defense needs to come up with a stop to close this thing out. From the gun, he'll try to throw for it on third down. Tight end finds a soft spot. Good tackle there to stop him short of the first down. It'll bring up a big decision. The offense uses a timeout to stop the clock, and they'll get a quick breather. To have any chance to pull this game out, they have to convert on fourth down here late in the fourth. Brought down to the ground, but he has enough for the first down. So the opportunity with a touchdown here to take a fourth quarter lead. They'll keep it on the ground for 1st and goal. He works his way ever closer all the way down to the 1-yard line. We'll see if the offense can punch it in on 2nd and goal. Buys a little time. He's got it down to the 1-yard line right on the doorstep of Pater. Quick timeout from the offense to save precious seconds. A touchdown here on 3rd and goal really ratchets up the game pressure. To the air, it's Fox. Looking to scramble. Touchdown, midshipman! And in the final moments, they've taken the lead.
Man, this game has been incredible to watch, and the offense comes through late in the game, takes the lead. What a clutch drive by this offense. Now, I'm looking at you, defense. You got the lead late in the game. I need you to go put this thing on ice and win it for me.
They're going to go for 2 here and try to extend that lead to a field goal. Trying to pound it in. Into the end zone, the 2-point conversion is good, and now they're up by a field goal. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. And he takes this from inside the 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. The Cadets have it back as Army goes back on offense. This is everything you could hope for in a rivalry game like this. Close game, waning moments, history waiting to be made, guys.
And it's moments like this why you come and play for these two schools, right? To play in a game like this, in a rivalry like this, in a situation, David, game on the line late, who's going to take it?
And you know when you make this play, you're immortalized. With this kind of rivalry, these are the highlights they'll be showing for years. Everybody be like, I remember when so-and-so made that play against our biggest rival to seal the deal.
A field goal attempt from here would be 54 yards. They'd love to pick up a few on third down. From the gun, wants to pass. Working that left side. Touchdown, Black Knights! And inside a minute to go, and they've got the lead.
Really good execution by this offense. Late in the game, under a minute, score to take the lead. It's what you draw up. It's what you dream about. But now, my defense has to go on the field and give me one more stop.
Getting set for the point after. And the extra point is good, and every point counts. It's now a 4-point lead in the fourth. Now that they have the lead, this kickoff unit has to stay in their lane, create some field position, and hand it over to the defense. On the move from inside his 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. And the midshipman offense making its way back onto the field. Okay, one possession game. You've got some time to work with, but you have to make up some ground quickly, David.
Got to be smart. Can't throw in front of the sticks. Can't get tackled in front of the sticks. Make sure we're taking some shots down the field, chewing up some yards. Jesse, the defense will be vulnerable here.
Yeah, and I think because of that, David, offensively, you got to have a plan. You got to know where your best matchup is out on the perimeter and who can make the big catches here in small windows.
Here's a throw downfield late. It's complete. A huge pickup. The offense will stop the clock and use one of its timeouts. To the air on first down. Finds his big tight end. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. Navy lifts anchor in the red zone. Looking to throw its 5. Just threw that one way too far. Couldn't find his man last time, and that leaves them with a 3rd and 6. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires to the end zone. Can't make the grab as he was going for 6 right there. And here we go, down to score. They'll go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. And they get to him and sack the quarterback, and they'll stop the drive on down. Running out the clock, a mere formality between them and a victory as we have victory formation coming. The quarterback takes a snap and takes a knee. Well, look what we have here, guys. After all the early season doubts, these guys have put together a winning streak.
They sure have. Man, they're just believing in themselves right now. This is a completely different looking team than what we saw early in the year. They're playing with so much more confidence. And David, when you start making plays, you start stringing W's together, that's obviously what you do.
Everybody gets energized. Everybody starts to contribute. Young guys start to grow up. Coaches start to believe in them. Everything starts to turn around and swing the other way. They got it all going in the right direction.
So that's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis saying so long. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.